According to me, I think it's a big risk to take, to rely completely on somebody else to manage your money.
What happens when women aren't involved in family finances? What is really at stake?
A lot, I would say. What the same earning women are doing with the money? Are they simply giving it to their husband or fathers to manage it for them? The answer is yes.
67% of working women in India still depend on male family members to make their financial decisions.
घर में बेटों से पैसे की बात होती है, बेटियों से नहीं. It's about having the silent, quiet power of being financially aware, have information about the various bank accounts, where the money is invested, what policies are existing. Nobody likes to plan for death, right? It is an uncomfortable topic. True. In urban India at least, most women are educated, they are employable and able to contribute to household earnings.
I think men also have an equally important role to play to give them that confidence, to educate them so that they can equally partner in this.
Financial conflicts are in fact one of the most. Money as a topic is considered taboo in most Indian households. A lot of women tend to continue in toxic situations. It could be a toxic situation at workplace. It could be something at home. What is your intent behind doing this? You are here to contribute, not to disrupt anything that he has built so far.
What are the non-negotiables for women when it comes to financial planning?
Buying an insurance policy is not enough. What is the point of it if the partner doesn't, the person who is nominated and the person who needs it isn't even aware of it?
If you choose to stay out of managing your money and understanding your finances, I think it's a big risk that you are taking.
Here's a starting fact. 67% of working women in India still depend on male family members to make their financial decisions. We teach our daughters to be independent, to chase their dreams, to stand on their own feet. But are we teaching them to manage their own money? Welcome to Depend on Insurance, Depend on Us. I'm Nitin Agarwal, appointed actuary at Canara HSBC Life Insurance. Today's conversation is incredibly important. We are talking about women and financial independence. Not just earning money, but controlling it, understanding it and making it work for your future. Joining me is Ajaita Lath, a certified wealth manager whose insights on inclusion in the subject of investments have shaped conversations across age groups. Ajaita, welcome.
Thank you, Nitin. I'm very happy to be here and indeed we are talking about a very important topic today.
So let's start with something shocking. A recent survey revealed that 90% of working women contribute to household expenses, yet 67% are still dependent on male family members for financial decisions. How is that even possible?
So before I answer that question, Nitin, let's go back in history a little. So India as a country has had very poor statistics regarding female literacy till over 3 decades back. That's when the government started taking various initiatives and what we are seeing today is a result of that. So what we see today is in urban India at least, most women are educated, they are employable and able to contribute to household earnings. In fact, I was reading up an interesting statistic recently, it was by RBI and the World Bank, that Indian urban women in fact have more money in their bank accounts than men today. So the transition from not earning to earning has taken place to a large extent. But however, what still needs to change is what the same earning women are doing with the money. Are they simply giving it to their husband or fathers to manage it for them? The answer is yes, they are doing that. And the reasons, you may ask, what are the reasons for that? Well, the reasons are many, but mainly it's because of society and societal and cultural conditioning, lack of confidence in their ability to manage the money because they haven't ever done it before, and also the fear of making mistakes and the fear of being judged is what pulls them back. So now the big transition that has to take place is from earning money to actually being responsible for that money, taking control of that money. So that is what needs to happen still, and we have a long way to go.
So it's not about capability. It's basically about past practices being followed over the years.
Exactly. So it was never about capability even when women were not earning their money, and it's not about capability even now. it's more got to do with the conditioning of our society and families, the way we function. आप कोई एक इंडियन हाउस होल्ड का एग्जाम्पल ले लो, घर में बेटों से पैसे की बात होती है, बेटियों से नहीं. So in fact this reminds me of a young working girl, very excited to be earning and feeling all independent. At one of the corporate sessions that I met her, she was so upset about the fact that what unfairness she was seeing at home. So what used to happen was that now that she was working and earning her money, and she had a younger brother, her father would insist on talking and involving her younger brother, who was still in college by the way, in financial matters of the family, and would exclude her even though she was showing her willingness to be a part of them. So ये होता है. In fact, I would say that the gender biases are pretty harsh even on the men, because there are a lot of men out there who are afraid to ask for help. The society just expects them to know. So they feel the fear of being ridiculed if they ask for help. And on the other hand, there are women who want to be a part of it and involved in it, but are afraid of being judged and being misunderstood. A lot of times women, if they are talking about money, they are considered to be money-minded or very materialistic, right? So that is what it is about.
So I think in the example that you mentioned, so we have a woman who is actually probably more capable and interested in advising a father, whereas the male member is probably not even that capable, not because of any other reason, but the fact that he's young, he's still in college, he doesn't have that kind of information, but he's actually being pushed and put that pressure on him to actually get involved in that matter, which is obviously not the great outcome for the household in total. So what happens when women aren't involved in family finances? What is really at stake?
A lot, I would say. See, Nitin, whether we like it or not, whether we want to admit it or not, money is something which has an impact on every aspect of our lives. हमारे पास कितना पैसा है और हम उस पैसे का क्या क्या करते हैं, I think that impacts our life choices that we make. And women perhaps who are not managing their money, they do not realize that the kind of impact this can have on their confidence on the whole. It boosts the self-worth that she feels and carries within her, and that translates into every aspect of her life. So it makes her assert herself more at workplace, at home, and in any situation. And I want to say this to all the women who are listening to us, that if you choose to stay out of managing your money and understanding your finances, I think it's a big risk that you are taking. And sooner or later, it can come back to hurt you pretty badly. In fact, the intensity of that impact can be much more if it's in a time of a crisis. Let me give you an example. So there's a friend of mine whom I've known for quite some time. She was leading a very seemingly perfect life, married to somebody who was working at a very senior position in one of the largest tech companies in the world. So it looked pretty perfect from the outside, till the time I realized that, and I got to know that she was facing abuse at home. After a few years, she couldn't take it anymore and she walked out of that marriage. But she had no idea about the finances, whether any investments were there in her name or not, and that's what happened. Every single rupee that was invested during the time of her marriage had been invested by the husband in his name. So she actually was in a situation where not only was she dealing with the whole heartbreak and loss of having her marriage not work, she also had to handle the financial impact of it. And she had walked out with her child along, and so she had to start from scratch with respect to earning and supporting herself and her daughter. So it can really come back to hurt you pretty badly. So I would say that a lot definitely is at stake here.
So tell me one thing, do you believe that if the women are more financially independent and they are more involved in this also flows into their other decisions, how they make their other decisions, and the confidence that they have, how much they can assert in the overall family decisions?
Yes, certainly, because having financial clarity and awareness about money, it is going to, as I said, it is definitely going to have an impact on every aspect of her life. It's about having the silent, quiet power of being financially aware that can actually lead to better decision making for her. And also, you know, a lot of women tend to continue in toxic situations. It could be a toxic situation at workplace, it could be something at home. If she is not sure of what her money situation is like, she would not have the confidence to actually walk out of situations that don't serve her well anymore. So I think it's extremely critical.
Just the fear that they don't know what to go back to.
उनको पता नहीं कि उनके पास कितना पैसा है और कैसे सपोर्ट करेंगे अपने आप को. Life is expensive. There are things that happen all the time which should require her to. So if basics का भी idea नहीं है कि वो कैसे अपने आप को support करेंगे, then that will stop her from taking that step.
Oh, I totally agree with you on that. So you spoke about divorce. What about death? So women who are not involved in the financial situation of the household might have no clue what to do. So, and that becomes even more critical when the life expectancy of women is a lot more, and for our age it might even go above 80. So what is your thoughts on that?
That's right. Women often outlive their spouses, and there's data to prove that. And when that happens, if they do not know where they stand financially, if they don't have answers to basic questions like how much money do they have, where is the money invested, are there any policies taken by the husband, is there any debt or liabilities that need to be repaid, they would be staring at a big financial crisis in their life. So in fact, sometimes the whole emotional aspect of dealing with loss can be outweighed by the financial stress and crisis situation that they have to deal with. In fact, let me tell you, there was a client I was talking to recently. See, life is unpredictable, right? And this is an example of that. There was, all health conditions were fine, there was nothing, and just one fine day her husband experienced some pain and he could not even make it till the hospital. There was a cardiac arrest. We've seen that happen very often in recent times. So things like that happen, and this is an educated working woman I'm talking about, not somebody who is not earning or not involved. She had such a big problem because even though her husband encouraged her to be a part of the finances, she somehow shied away from it because she felt ke theek hai na, aap kar rahe ho, you're managing it, I'm fine with that. But thankfully there was a life insurance cover, and there was also a home loan liability which she was able to repay because of the cover that he had. But it's been about a year now, and she's still figuring out, piecing information about where all the investments were lying, etc. So it is definitely not a situation that anybody want to be in.
Right. And death is such a taboo, topic in our country. So that makes things probably even much worse.
Nobody likes to plan for death, right? It is an uncomfortable topic. True.
But definitely very, very important. And the example that you mentioned, that is actually a story of so many households in India.
Yes, very much.
How does a woman start this conversation, especially if finances have always been handled by someone else?
So let's see, if the willingness is there, but she's feeling unsure about where and how to begin, how does she suddenly start asking her husband about questions about finances which she has never done before? So let's face it, it's not going to be easy. More so because money as a topic is considered taboo in most Indian households. पैसे के बारे में बात करना अच्छा नहीं माना जाता है, more so when the women of the house are talking about money. So शुरू में हो सकता है awkward लगे, I agree, but that does not mean that you don't bring it up. That should not be the reason to pull the women back from being involved. I think what will really help is if they have a very honest and open conversation about their partner. Tell him that what is your intent behind doing this? You are here to contribute, not to disrupt anything that he has built so far. So I think just having that open conversation can be a great starting point.
So it's about partnership. So it's about lending a helping hand. It's not about overtaking each other. I love that. Partnership and collaboration, not suspicion. Because this isn't about taking over. It's about lending a helping hand.
Exactly. It's about saying that, hey, I'm with you in this. So give me an opportunity to support you and help you, and let's do this together.
And what if the spouse is resistant?
Yeah, so that can happen. But it's also important to understand what is the reason behind that resistance. Sometimes, although it may sound utopian, but it could be a possibility that the husband already feels that there is a lot on the wife's plate and she's already managing so many aspects, so he's happy to do this for them. या ये भी हो सकता है that the husband feels that ये मेरी wife का कोई नया जोश है and it won't last long, so he does not take it seriously. So it's important for the wife to actually express that you're serious about it, and and make an effort. Show him, when he sees small things that you do, gain some knowledge about the basics. Get some idea about what are the different investments. So when he sees that effort coming in and that seriousness there, I'm sure things will change. It will be gradual, but it will surely come through.
Yeah, great, that's really insightful. So basically the intent has to be there. She has to keep showing the intent, and even if she has to start something small, that's fine.
Correct, that's how it should be.
So now let's flip this. I want to address the men listening. What if the wife doesn't seem interested in financial matters? How do you involve her, mentor her, without it feeling like a lecture?
I agree. So this is also a very common situation that people encounter. So let's face it, Nitin, women do have a lot on their plate. Apart from managing their work, घर को देखना, बच्चों को संभालना, caregiving of elderly at home can be quite a lot.
Absolutely.
And most women I know are more than happy to outsource managing money to their husbands. This is where they get it wrong. I would say outsource other things, but don't outsource something so critical for yourself. But coming back to your question, what can the men do when a situation is such that the women are not very willing to get involved? I think if all the efforts are not really yielding any results, there's one thing that the man of the house can do. Create a spreadsheet, have an Excel sheet or any spreadsheet, and maintain all the financial details, all the important stuff there. Have information about the various bank accounts, where the money is invested, what policies are existing. Have all of that information in one place, so that at least in times of a crisis or an emergency, she has access to that file and can understand a lot about their financial situation just by looking at that spreadsheet. So that's at least something that he can do from his side.
So anything particularly, say, because what you mentioned definitely might work for the urban women, the more educated one. Anything to address the women in the rural areas where that kind of involvement might not be there?
In all honesty, they have a long way to go. See, they would be excellent at budgeting. They would be really good at saving. And if you see traditionally, the women of the house have been involved in managing their household expenses within a particular budget, which was of course given by the men who were bringing in the money. But they've been excellent. So they are in fact very, very good at making sure that everything falls into place within that budget. And also they would manage to save a little. Yes. From every month's budget. And so they're really good at that. That's something that comes naturally to them. But what they need to do is to translate that into other aspects of finances as well. And as you said, women who are not living in urban societies and who are not earning and working, they would have a longer mile to sort of bridge the gap. They would take a longer while to get there.
So I think what you mentioned about that, I think that came out quite clearly during the times of demonetization. When women rural, you could see that there was enough saving that they had, and they were
notes and all were coming out of 1,000 rupee notes and everything. They were coming out from all sorts of places in their closets. Yes, that's true. So
you're right. So I think definitely. But I think in the rural area there are these other mediums like post office, and where I've heard of women investing, and even the small amounts at some point they result in something. But what probably happens is a lot of them, they continue to save that money for either emergency of the family or for their children, if they need to do something. But of course, they invest the same amount, that can only come in more handy at those kind of times of emergency.
Right. See, women are great savers, but they're not good investors.
Right.
Because they are fearful and scared of making mistakes. Also because their awareness about the options available is very poor, I would say. So what they tend to do is either save it with them as cash, or maybe if they've seen in their family, if their mothers have been investing in post office saving schemes and those kind of instruments, they would be comfortable with that. FDs. and a lot of times they also like to invest in gold. So they would try and save that. I mean, save their money through having jewelry pieces. So that's what they've been traditionally comfortable with. What is important is with more awareness, what is going to happen is they will realize that times have changed. There are much better options available in the world now, and that's where they need to sort of catch up with what is happening and what options are there.
So I think men also have a equally important role to play to give them that confidence, to educate them so that they can equally partner in this.
Yes, absolutely.
And what about when financial conflicts arise, when couples disagree on financial matters?
Financial conflicts are in fact one of the most common sources of conflict in marriages. It's bound to happen. Two people with very different belief systems about money are coming together as a family, and they need to take several decisions together. And in most cases, it's hard to say kaun galat hai, kaun sahi. They could both be right in their own way. It's just that they have a different perspective on it. एक को गोवा में हॉलीडे करना है तो दूसरे को मालदीव्स में करना है. One wants to send the children to an international school, while the other one might feel कि it's too expensive, इसकी क्या ज़रूरत है. So that is natural. It's all a part of life. It will keep happening. Not talking about it is not going to be helpful. So like with any other conflict or any other situation, I think having a meaningful and mindful communication about it, keep that going, will definitely be much better. Because not talking about it is not going to help. Brushing it under the carpet and thinking that things will get sorted on its own, that's not going to happen. So be more vocal about, each of them can be more vocal about what they are saying, why they are saying, what are the reasons behind it, and see how, and try to make things work accordingly.
Right. So the more openly you talk about it, the better it is.
Yes, definitely.
So basically you should sit down and discuss the pros and cons of all the options and take objective decisions and not try to impose one another's decision on each other.
Correct. Be practical about it. Baat karo, khatam karo, move on.
So you're a mother of two. So how do you approach these financial conversations with your daughters?
So my younger one is still quite young, but my older one is a teenager. And we in fact opened her bank account for her 13th birthday. And ever since we've been contributing, we have been depositing her pocket money into her bank account instead of giving it as cash. And you should have seen the excitement on her face when she saw a debit card in her name. And in fact, we have recently also opened an investment account for her. She's 15 now. So, and initially, and we've told her that, we initially contributed to that investment account, but we've told her to contribute to it from her pocket money as well. So honestly, initially there was some resistance. She felt that pocket money to mere kharche ke liye hai, why do I have to invest from it and everything. So we told her, look, the money is yours. Whether you want to spend all of it or you want to spend as well as save a part of it which can be used for your own expenses, maybe slightly bigger ones later on, is your choice. So now I'm happy to tell you that 50% of her pocket money she invests, and she manages her expenses in the remaining 50%.
Wow.
And by doing this, we are in fact teaching her one of the most valuable lessons anybody can learn when it comes to managing money, which is budgeting. Save and invest first and then spend it. And moreover, topics and discussions around money are common in my household. At dinner time, we openly discuss these things. So be it school fees or a holiday budget, and figuring out that this is the budget and what destinations will fit into that budget, and also about saving up and what kind of investments we do for her college fund. All of this is openly discussed. So children, often tend to grasp a lot of these cues from what they hear and see in their family. So if we are talking as a family, we are open about talking about money, they understand that money is not something to be scared of. It is something which can which can transform their lives, but how to use it and how to approach it is what makes all the difference, if they're comfortable around the topic of money.
So do you not feel that why burden them or put that kind of pressure on them so early?
No, not at all, because see, children are much smarter than what we think them to be, and in fact children of today, they have an innate ability to grasp a lot of things. It's just that they would need a little hand holding, and maybe we need to put ourselves in their shoes and try to explain things to them in a way that they will be able to relate to. Like for instance, they study about compound interest in math, and if we relate that concept of compound interest to how compounding works in investing, when you invest and how your money compounds over time, that is something that they will be able to understand much better, and they will know that how small amounts compounded over a period of time can lead to big wealth creation.
Right.
So it's not something that पहले traditionally थोड़ा ये होता था कि बच्चों से के सामने पैसे की बात मत करो.
Right.
So there was always this fear about it, or that it's something uncomfortable about it. But and then they start working, they start earning money, and then don't know what to do about it.
Right.
And then we expect them to do whatever they want to do with it and however they want to manage it. So there is no formal financial training that's imparted to them. School में नहीं सिखाया जाता है, college के time पे नहीं बताते. Every focus is towards how to make them more employable, कि पैसा कैसे कमाना है, but पैसा कमा के उस पैसे के साथ करना क्या है. This unfortunately is something that they are kept away from.
So financial planning starts from childhood, not from workplace.
Absolutely, it has to start from childhood, because सबसे ज़्यादा बच्चे वो सीखते हैं जो वो घर में होता हुआ देखते हैं. So if they see their mothers being involved in finances, having control over their money, that's what they will learn. So that's what. So be it whether you have daughters or son, it doesn't matter. Even the sons will grow up to be much better husbands, and they will be more sensitized to and the importance of involving women of their family in the financial matters. So that's what it is.
So let's get practical. What are the non-negotiables for women when it comes to financial planning?
See Nitin, broadly speaking, there are two risks that everyone should be prepared for, and this is true for all the genders. One is the risk of dying too early, which is covered by insurance, and second is the risk of living too long, which is covered by investments. So I feel a sound financial plan which covers these two risks well for you is a non-negotiable, whether you are a man or a woman.
You're absolutely right. Life insurance is a must for everyone in my view as well. So then why do we not see too many women in India taking life insurance cover?
So life insurance, I feel, is important for everyone, whether you're a man or a woman. If you're not contributing financially to the household, then maybe you can take a lesser coverage. But if there is going to be a significant impact on the family finances because your income is not coming in, then your coverage needs to be commensurate with that. So it is definitely a must for women as well.
That's a very valid point. In fact, there are policies that are available now where the spouse cover is also available as an option to the main policy. So that can be a good way of covering both the husband and the wife within the same policy itself.
Oh yes, emergency fund is extremely important, preferably as a first step in your financial planning journey. See, the pandemic has shown us how vulnerable we are. Job losses and job cuts are very common nowadays. So you want to be prepared for a situation where your active income stops coming in, but your expenses will not stop. So it's a great idea to set aside 6 to 12 months of your expenses parked in an instrument which is easily accessible to you when the situation comes, because emergencies can come in any time. That's the whole idea behind the emergency fund. So don't try to maximize your returns from this money. That should not be your key focus area. What you should focus on is whether you will be able to access that money and whether the capital is protected or not. So it is extremely important.
Right. So emergency fund is more about liquidity than growth.
Exactly. Yes.
That's right. Emergency fund is absolutely necessary. But what about a passion fund? A fund to help you pursue your own passions?
Oh, I love the idea of a passion fund, and I'm glad you brought it up, because women tend to prioritize other people's goals and plan for others in their family, बच्चों का education, family vacations, and even taking care of the elderly of the house. But what about their own personal goals? How about planning for those as well? So they should think of a passion fund as a fund to allow them and enable them to do things which truly make them happy. It could be a solo trip they want to take, or they might want to travel some part of the world with their girl gang, or it could be even a sabbatical from work that they want to take for maybe pursuing a hobby or something. Whatever it is, if they plan for it, they can make it happen. And even a small amount that they set aside for this purpose can go a long way in actually giving them the freedom to actually do it.
That's powerful. Financial independence isn't just about security, it's about freedom to pursue your passions.
Oh, absolutely. It's about being able to enjoy. They're working so hard. If only they make their money also work hard for them, it can allow them to actually enjoy a lot of it.
So now let's talk about something difficult but necessary. What happens when a partner passes away suddenly?
So Nitin, needless to say, it can be an extremely traumatic event at multiple levels. And trust me, the last thing you want in such a situation is to have financial confusion and lack of clarity about your finances. They say that the best time to be prepared for a crisis is before the crisis actually happens. So apart from ensuring that you have your life insurance and your investments in place, it's important to have access to your financial records. This is something that I tell my clients, that every family should have a shared spreadsheet between the partners where they maintain all the important details regarding their finances, because so that in case of such a crisis, they have easy access to all the records. It can make things a lot simpler, at least on the financial aspect of things. You won't believe that there are over 80,000 crores of assets which are lying with money, which is lying with banks and financial institutions today, because the inheritors don't even know that they have inherited it. So if you have immovable property, I would say that you should definitely have a will in place, so that the transition to your family can be a lot smoother and easier.
It's sad because it's possible that the partner has the money but he just doesn't know about it. He or she doesn't know about it.
Right.
And for a woman who's suddenly in that situation, what would be the first step?
First, although it's easier said than done, I would say don't panic. It has been a situation that you have not been involved with the family finances, and you land up in a situation like that, then I would say that the first step would be to maybe rope in somebody trusted to help you, because you are the woman is in an extremely emotional state, and to be able to do a lot of things that has to be done at that time, I think she needs a little help. So like for instance, a batchmate of mine reached out to me some time back, even though we had barely been in touch over the last 20 years, ever since we knew each other from our B school days. But it's important to involve somebody trusted. Start with the basics. First, figure out whether there were any life insurance on the husband's name. If yes, then start with the claim process. Second, try to figure out where was the money invested, and it could take a while, but and it's not going to be easy, but it can be done if if she has some support and help to do it.
So buying a insurance policy is not enough. What is the point of it if the partner doesn't, the person who's nominated and the person who needs it isn't even aware of it?
Yes, the awareness is extremely important. Yes.
I think what's really important is communication. So there's no point in having all these assets and insurance policies if the partner doesn't even know about it. So it's important that there is enough open communication, the partners know about all the financial assets, insurance policies, so they can actually utilize it when it's there. And today's world, digitally it's much easier to store these than it used to be probably many years ago. But important part is that the person should be aware of it.
Nitin, I would like to add something to that. See, this is where having a shared spreadsheet can be really useful, because digitally agar aap store karoge to you will need password access to access it, and you may not have that on your husband's phone. So it is important that agar ek simple diary le lo, आप उसी में लिख लो, but it is important कि आप उसको कहीं document करो, because if you don't do that, then the whole purpose gets defeated.
So now I'm going to discuss some real life situations with you, and I'm sure our listeners will be quite keen to know your views on this. So I'm going to throw some what if scenarios at you and would love to know your views on the same. So what if you're a working woman who takes a career break?
So career breaks are common for women, and I feel that before she takes the break, it's important for her to have full clarity about her finances. How long is the break going to be for, and when she intends to get back. In fact, if she has not been involved in her, in her finances, or if she has not been investing so far, this might be a great time to start doing that, because she would need to make sure that her money is managed well now that an active income will not be coming in for a few months or years. So I think planning is the key here. If she plans for it, it's going to be a lot smoother for her.
So career break is a possibility as long as you plan for it. So what should you do if your husband loses his job?
So I'm assuming here that we are talking about a working, earning woman, and of course she would have to be the emotional as well as the financial pillar of the family in such a scenario. If she has not been involved in the family finances so far, I think this would definitely be a place where she needs to start. She needs to look at the way the husband has been managing the money so far. If he has been reckless or not very great at managing investments and not very good at debt management, then this could be a place where she could step in and contribute.
What if you outlive your savings?
So that's the risk of living too long we spoke about, and it's a very real risk in today's time, because most elderly people, they live with the fear of what if their corpus does not last them for their life. I think for that, the planning, again, prioritizing their retirement goal in their working years would take a lot of importance, because if they plan it well, they will be able to ensure that their corpus keeps growing at a certain rate in order to take care of their longer life expectancy. And in today's time, Nitin, I think nobody wishes to be dependent on their children to take care of them in their old age. Everybody wants to be independent, and in fact, I would say that if they use the services of a trusted advisor, because there are strategies that can be deployed to ensure that their liquidity needs are met. See, in retirement, what happens is that their active income is not there. So there is a way to generate some kind of income that comes into their bank account during their retirement years as well, which takes care of their living expenses. But at the same time, you need a part of their money to be invested in appropriate instruments, which will keep growing at a better rate. So that will ensure that it actually lasts them for their lifetime, and they can live with dignity till their last breath.
And there are financial instruments like annuities which also support that.
Correct.
What if you receive a sudden windfall, inheritance or bonus?
That would be great, right? If that happens. I think it can be very easy to get carried away when you get a sudden windfall or inheritance. But it's important to be careful about how you plan for it, because ऐसे मौके बार-बार नहीं आते हैं. So you should make sure that you utilize it in the best possible way. I would say if it happens very suddenly, then you can probably just park the money in some short tenure debt funds for some time, and take your time to see how you want to utilize the money. Often what people want to do is, if they have any liabilities or if they want to clear off some debts, then this is a good opportunity, because you've got a lump sum amount, you might as well utilize it for that. Or they may want to create an emergency fund out of it. And maybe use a part of it for that purpose, and partly for investing to amp up their retirement corpus.
Or even a passion fund, as you had mentioned earlier.
Yes, of course. So it all depends on their priorities at that point of time. But yes, they need to be more mindful about it, I would say, and not get impulsive and carried away with it.
So what if you're a homemaker with 2 kids and your husband suddenly passes away with a business loan liability of 50 lakhs?
So this is where I feel that your life insurance can be extremely useful. So if the husband had taken adequate insurance on his life, then it can help the payout that happens. It can help immensely in clearing out any liabilities that he had taken on. Here is something, Nitin, that I want to point out, which not a lot of people are aware about, which is the how important it is when you're taking the insurance policy to take it and opt in for the MWPA benefit. So MWPA Act is basically a Married Women Protections Act, which acts like a safety net, because the insurance amount is protected by law for the beneficiary, which would be the wife and the children. and the creditors cannot lay a stake on that amount, which may not happen if the policy has not been taken along with this MWPA benefit. So I think it's extremely crucial that earning husbands, especially with liabilities of any kind, should be opting for the MWPA Act benefit.
So MWPA Act is something which the policyholder, the husband, while taking on the policy, can opt for it and make sure that inform the wife about it, that she is aware, in case of such a situation, that she doesn't use that money for paying any creditors, because this particular act actually protects her from it. Okay. And in addition, for just like we spoke about the business loan, there are other loans, something like if there was a home loan on it. Again, there are insurance policies like a credit life which will cover against that loan, but it's important for the wife to know. So Ajaita, let's talk about some myths that are very common in the society, and especially in the Indian society. So the first myth is, my husband handles everything, so I don't need to worry.
Your husband handles everything. Well, it doesn't mean that he's doing a great job. According to me, I think it's a big risk to take, to rely completely on somebody else to manage your money.
I earn less, so financial planning isn't my responsibility.
See, financial planning has very little or nothing to do with how much you're earning. In fact, if at all, it actually becomes more important when you're earning less, because you have limited resources and you will need to manage your expenses within those resources. So having a sound plan in place would definitely be beneficial.
Again, a very common myth. Talking about money creates conflict in relationships.
Conflict पैसे के बारे में बात करने से नहीं होता है. Conflict exists because there are people with different points of view, and perhaps in a lot of cases they are not clear in their own heads about what do they want the money to achieve for them. Talking about it will not create conflict. वो सिर्फ बाहर आ जाता है निकल के, but then you need to move past it.
The last one, I don't need to learn about finance, I'll hire an advisor.
See, of course, having a trusted advisor can be probably as important as having a good family doctor, but that does not mean that you do not understand the basics. एक basic understanding होना बहुत ज़रूरी है, even if you're working with an advisor, because you need to be able to look at your investment statements and see and understand what's happening. It's very important for you to ask the right questions to your advisor, and also evaluate whether have some sense of understanding about whether the options that are being suggested to you, do they really serve your interest or not. So I think a basic understanding about finances is non-negotiable.
So now we come to my favorite segment, rapid fire round. So I'm sure that doesn't need any introduction.
Right.
So I'm gonna ask you some questions, and I'm hoping some rapid replies from you. One word that defines financial independence for women.
Freedom.
One thing every woman should do in her 30s.
Invest, not just save.
Biggest financial mistake women make.
Assuming that it's all right for somebody else to manage their money.
One piece of advice for young women starting their careers.
Create that emergency fund before you buy the designer bag.
Best investment you've made in yourself.
Investment in my health, both mentally as well as physically.
Who is your dependable partner?
Compounding. It keeps working and doing its job quietly while I'm holidaying.
Thank you, Ajaita. It was a wonderful session. It was really insightful, and I thoroughly enjoyed talking to you, and I'm sure the audience will also really enjoy this session. Any closing thoughts from your end before we wrap this up?
Nitin, financial independence is not about being the richest person or richest woman in the room. It's about awareness, having control, and the agency to make money decisions for yourself. And this clarity is what brings in the confidence, which I think every woman deserves.
Thank you, Ajaita, for coming in. Now I would like to just hand over a small gesture from our side.
Oh, thank you so much.
Now I would request you to come with us to our wall of dependability to sign a planter.
Sure.
Every woman listening, remember, earning money is just the first step. Truly owning your future means understanding your finances, protecting your family with the right insurance, building your emergency and passion funds, and teaching your daughters to do the same. Start small, ask the questions, get involved and stay involved, because clarity with money is confidence for life. This is Depend on Insurance, Depend on Us. Until next time,
Take charge, stay informed and depend on yourself.
Canara HSBC Life Insurance. Promises ka partner.